right? So the second method is by the action of water or steam on active metals. When water or steam or is reacted with active metal, so then you will prepare bases or alkalis. We can prepare bases or alkalis. So this is the general equation. So when active metal reacted with water or steam, it forms either basic hydroxide or basic oxide, plus hydrogen gas is liberated in the reaction. See, look here. See, water. Water means cold water. So steam means, so steam. Okay. So here, these metals, sodium, see, up to calcium only, they react with cold water. Okay. When reacted with cold water, they can, because they are highly reactive metals, they can react even with cold water and form basic hydroxides. For example, take potassium or sodium or calcium, any metal out of these three. For example, take sodium, water. So which water? Cold water. It forms a sodium hydroxide. Okay, sodium metal when reacted with cold water, okay, it forms a sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas is liberated. So that means here two sodiums and two water. So it forms, so like this. So what is happened here? Sodium hydroxide is a basic hydroxide. So basic hydroxide is produced. So even this one also basic hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide. From here onwards, from magnesium onwards, you don't find hydroxides. You will get metal oxides. For example, magnesium when dissolved in water, when reacted with water, when magnesium metal is reacted with water, which water? We have to take steam, water in the form of steam, and even this magnesium should be heated. This magnesium should be heated. So when magnesium metal is heated, it reacts with steam, then only it will react with steam and forms magnesium oxide, and hydrogen gas is liberated. So how much each magnesium? Okay, magnesium, so right, magnesium oxide and hydrogen gas is liberated. So in this way, so from magnesium onwards, all the metals, they form only oxides, basic oxides. So here the thing is that metals when reacted with water or steam, they form basic hydroxide or basic oxide. So which metal react with which cold water? So only these three metals will react with cold water, and they only will form hydroxides, and all other metals, they form metal oxides. Okay, take another example. Iron when reacted with water. So which water? Steam we have to take. Okay, and even iron is also should be heated. It should be heated red hot. It should be heated to red hot, and it forms iron oxide plus hydrogen gas is liberated. Okay, iron oxide it forms, and hydrogen gas it liberates. See, look here, already we learned this is a reversible reaction. Even lead also will react in the similar fashion with the iron. Okay, like iron. So in this way, so these are what bases. This is metal hydroxide, basic in nature, basic hydroxide, and these are metal oxides. They are also said to be basic in nature. They are said to be basic oxides. Okay, so in this way, so this is a second method of preparation of bases, where the metals, active metals particularly, active metals react with water or steam, they form bases. Bases means either basic hydroxide or basic oxide, and along with the formation of these bases, hydrogen gas is liberated. So this is the second method of preparation of bases. Now we will learn the third method. Third method of preparation of bases. What is the third method? Third method is, so when a highly reactive metal, okay, oxides of highly reactive metals are dissolved in water. That means by dissolving oxides of whom? Oxides of highly reactive metals. Highly reactive metals in water. When highly reactive metals are dissolved in water, they form bases. For example, I mean this can be written like this in general way: oxide of active metal, okay, when reacted with water, they form alkali solutions. Because highly reactive metals generally they form soluble bases. They form soluble bases with water. Even their oxides also. For example, take sodium oxide. When dissolved in water, it forms a sodium hydroxide, NaOH solution. It forms sodium hydroxide. Okay, it is an alkali solution. Another example, calcium oxide when dissolved in water, they form calcium hydroxide. So like this. So these are what? These are alkalis or else bases. So in this way, the preparation of bases, this is one of the method. Third method is by dissolving oxides of highly reactive metals. In water. So this is also another method. Next, fourth method we will learn. Fourth method of preparation. What is the fourth method of preparation? By dissolving ammonia gas in water. By dissolving ammonia, this is what? Ammonia gas. By dissolving ammonia gas in water. When ammonia gas is dissolved in water, it forms ammonium hydroxide, NH4OH. Okay, ammonium hydroxide. It is also base. It is also water soluble base. It is an alkali, ammonium hydroxide. So in this way, ammonium hydroxide can be prepared. So next to fifth method of preparation. See here in the fifth method, soluble salts of metal. That means here by reacting or else by treating soluble salts of metal. Soluble salts of metals with what? With caustic alkalis. Caustic alkalis. What are caustic alkalis? Caustic alkalis are nothing but they are bases only. So these are very harmful. When they fall on the skin, so it causes a very painful burns on the skin. Okay, the skin will come, it will form a mass, thick mass. Okay, so like this, such alkalis are said to be called caustic alkalis. So mainly there are two caustic alkalis. Mainly, what are they? Caustic soda, or simply we will call it as sodium hydroxide. and caustic potash, caustic soda, caustic potash, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, caustic potash, caustic soda. Okay, so here what we have to do, soluble salts of metals. So when soluble salts of metals reacted with caustic alkalis, soluble salts of metals, so general equation I will write like this. Soluble salt of metal, okay, plus caustic alkali, so when both of them react, they form insoluble base. It will form base, but insoluble base, and another salt is formed. Okay, insoluble base is formed, and another soluble salt. Okay, another soluble salt is formed. So actually it is soluble salt. It is a soluble salt. Okay, so soluble salt will form another soluble salt, and also insoluble base is formed. Let us take an example. FeCl3, it is a soluble salt. Iron chloride, ferric chloride, it is called as ferric chloride when reacted with sodium hydroxide. So caustic alkali. See here, the soluble salt, don't take so here exception, except salt of sodium or potassium. So we may take any other soluble salt. Okay, we should not take salt of sodium or potassium. Except salt of sodium or potassium, we may take any other salt. When reacted with caustic alkali, so what do you get? You will get insoluble base. So it get ferric hydroxide, which is insoluble base. Okay, ferric hydroxide, 3OH. So 3OH means if you press 3NS here. So like this. So it is insoluble base. That means it forms a precipitate. Another example, copper sulfate. This is very famous example. Already we know copper sulfate. I mean, when it is dissolved in water, it forms a blue solution. So this is water soluble salt. Taken when this one is dissolved, and when copper sulfate is made to react with caustic alkali like sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, it forms what? It forms insoluble base. So copper hydroxide is also insoluble base, and forms a salt, soluble salt, Na2SO4. So like this. So these are what? Insoluble bases. Insoluble base is formed when soluble salts of metals are reacted with the caustic alkalis. So in this way, so here this is also method of preparation of bases only. So this is a fifth method of preparation of bases. Now let us learn the sixth method of preparation of bases. Sixth method. Here, when metal carbonates that means strongly heating by strongly heating the metal carbonates. When metal carbonates are strongly heated, what happens? then also we'll get these bases or alkalis. For example, I'll write general method of general equation. Metal carbonate, generally when any metal carbonate when strongly heated, what happens? So carbon dioxide gas is formed along with the formation of metal oxide. Metal oxide and carbon dioxide gas is released. Okay, metal oxide and carbon dioxide gas is released. And here also there is an exception. See, sodium carbonate or even potassium carbonate. So these two are exception. Except because what happens, if you heat them, they simply melt, but they do not break down into metal oxide and carbon dioxide. Okay, so from calcium we may take, so leave these two carbonates, carbonate of sodium or carbonate of potassium. So we cannot take because they cannot break down into oxides and carbon dioxide. From calcium onwards we may take. Example, calcium carbonate. So calcium carbonate, upon strongly heating you will get calcium oxide and carbon dioxide gas. Or else any down the group, down the series we may take any copper carbonate. Upon strong heating you will get any carbonate we may take. Copper oxide plus carbon dioxide gas. Anything. Zinc carbonate, take zinc carbonate. Upon strong heating you will get zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. So like this, generally metal carbonates, they liberate carbon dioxide upon strong heating, and also during this process metal oxide is formed, and these metal oxides are basic in nature. They are called as basic oxides. These are all basic oxides and they are prepared in this method, in this process. So this is one of the method of preparation of bases. Some of them are water soluble and some of them are water insoluble. Okay. So like this, so metal oxide, it is nothing but basic oxide. We can call it as basic oxide. Generally metal oxides are basic oxides. Okay. So this is about the 6th method of preparation. Now we will learn about the 7th method of preparation of bases. Seventh method of preparation of bases. By strong heating of metal nitrates also. By strong heating of metal nitrates also we may get bases. Okay, we may get bases. I'll write the general equation for this. Metal nitrate upon strong heating you will get basic oxide. What is basic oxide? Basic oxide means metal oxide. Okay, plus NO2 gas is liberated, reddish brown colored gas. NO2 gas is reddish brown colored gas, and along with these two, oxygen gas is also formed. Let us take examples. See, even here also, don't take potassium nitrate or sodium nitrate. See, even potassium nitrate or sodium nitrate upon heating Upon heating, they do not undergo any reaction. They do not undergo any reaction. That means no reaction is formed. That means they do not break down into oxide, NO2 and oxygen. So these two substances are exception. Except. So these two, leave these two. And from calcium onwards, we may take calcium nitrate. Calcium nitrate, upon strong heating, you will get calcium oxide plus nitrogen dioxide gas plus oxygen gas. Nitrogen dioxide gas is a reddish brown colored gas. Okay, so like this. Another example, copper nitrate. Copper nitrate. See, what is the color of copper nitrate? Can you recall the color of copper nitrate? So we have studied about the color of copper nitrate in our ICSE first, part 1. So the color, the only nitrate salt which is colored is copper nitrate, and its color is bluish green. Only, no other nitrate salt is colored. The only nitrate salt which is colored is copper nitrate. Okay, and it is a bluish green colored salt. So when copper nitrate is heated, it forms copper oxide. It forms copper oxide and NO2, and oxygen gas is liberated. So if you balance, you will get like this. Okay, here also. Okay. So like this. So this is what? These are basic oxides. So in this way, even upon strong heating of metal nitrates also, we can prepare the bases or alkalis. So this is the last method of preparation of alkalis or bases. So in this way, these are the general methods of preparation of bases or alkalis. Okay, right. Now we will learn about the general properties of alkalis or bases. General properties. General properties of alkalis we will learn. Water soluble bases are said to be alkalis. Water soluble bases are called as alkalis. Okay. So now let us learn the general properties of alkalis. The first property is the taste. The first property is the taste. What is the taste of alkali? They are bitter in taste. Bitter taste. Okay. Next, touch. They are they are soapy to touch. They are soapy to touch. They are soapy to touch. When their solution is felt between the fingertips, you will find a slippery sensation. Okay, so that means they are slippery. That means if you take the solution of any base, any alkali, and just you do like this. Okay, that means when their solution is felt between the fingers, a slippery sensation is produced. You will get what? Jigutaga. That means you will get a slippery sensation. Slippery to touch. Next one, indicators. Effect of indicators. Effect of indicators. What are indicators? Indicators are the substances which will identify whether a given substance is acid or base. Suppose I have a substance and I want to know whether this substance is acid or base. So how can I know whether this is an acid or base? I can know only with the help of indicators. Indicator will help us to know whether the given substance is acid or base. Suppose if it is a base, or alkali solution, what happens? Here indicators are of several types of indicators. What are the several types of indicators? It may be acidic red litmus solution. Acidic red litmus solution is one indicator. It is one indicator. Next indicator is pink methyl orange solution. Pink methyl orange solution. Pink methyl orange solution, it is another indicator. Phenolphthalein. Phenolphthalein solution is another indicator. Turmeric paper. Turmeric paper is another indicator. So what happens? Suppose if it is an alkali, what happens when this alkali is made to react with this indicator? What happens? The color of this indicator will turn into blue color. So that means red color is changed to blue color when acidic red litmus solution is made to react with alkali. So suppose if I add this substance to this one, immediately what happens? This substance it will change its color to blue. Or else if I add alkali into this one, the red color solution is turned to blue color solution. Or else if I add alkali to this solution, if I add any alkali to this solution, what happens? Then the pink methyl orange solution, it's turned to yellow. It turns to yellow color. That means alkali solution can be detected by even this one also, because if alkali solution is added to this one, so it changes its color. Okay, from orange to yellow color. What is an indicator? Indicator is a substance. Any substance, they change their color. Any substance, they change their color when they react either with acid or base. Even with acid or else even with base, also they will change their colors. With acid, it changes in some color, and with bases they change into some other color. So particularly, if you take acidic red litmus solution, this will change it will change its color to blue when an alkali is added to this one. So like this. So even phenolphthalein solution, it turns to pink color. When alkali is added to phenolphthalein solution, it turns to pink color. That means, suppose if I have some substance X, I don't know what is that substance. If it is added to phenolphthalein, then the solution has turned to pink. So what is this substance? What is the nature of this substance? Can you identify? Yes. the nature of this substance is alkaline in nature. It's a base. It's a water soluble base. Only water soluble base, when they reacted with the phenolphthalein indicator, so it will change the color of the phenolphthalein indicator to pink. Actually, the phenolphthalein solution, it is colorless. It's a colorless solution. So the colorless phenolphthalein solution is turned to pink when it is reacted with the alkali. Okay, right. So turmeric paper. What is the color of turmeric? Turmeric being pasupu. Originally it is yellow in color. Originally this is yellow in color. When reacted with the water soluble base or else alkali, immediately it turns to brown. It turns to brown color. So generally in marriages, we'll use turmeric powder, turmeric paper or else turmeric powder, pasupu. Pasupu, when it is reacted with any base, so it becomes brown color. So that material is used as parani. కాళ్ళకు పారాని పెడతాం కదా. ఓకే, సో పెళ్లి కొడుకునన్నా పెళ్లి కూతురునన్నా ప్రిపేర్ చేసేటప్పుడు, తయారు చేసేటప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తాము? సో పసుపు తీసుకొని బేస్లో కలుపుతాం. లైక్ సున్నం ఎందుకే సున్నం అంటే కాల్షియం హైడ్రాక్సైడ్. సో ఇట్స్ ఎ బేస్. ఓకే, ఈవెన్ సబ్బు ఉంది కదా, soap is also it is somewhat basic in nature. So what happens? Turmeric paper or else turmeric powder, which is originally yellow in color, so when it comes into contact with base or alkali, immediately it changes its color from yellow to brown color. So in this way, so these are some of the indicators which can identify whether the given substance is acid or base. So they change. Indicator is a substance which changes their color, okay, upon reacting with either acid or with base. So with the base, so this one will turn into blue with base, this one will turn into yellow with base, this one will turn into pink with base, and this one will turn into brown with base. So like this, water soluble base we have to take. So in this way, so alkalis have such properties, right? So let us learn some other properties. With acids, how do they react with acids? See, alkali solution generally with acids. Fourth property is reaction with acids. See, generally alkali solution which is base in nature, when reacted with acid, they form salt and water. They form salt and water. Any acid when reacted with base, they form salt and water. Example, calcium hydroxide. Take any acid, maybe nitric acid or HCl or H2SO4 for any acid. For example, take H2SO4. What happens? So when acid and base reacts, so hydrogens from the acid and OH from the base, they combine with each other to form water. Okay, so here water is formed, and so what is left over? Calcium and sulfate is left over. So this will form as a salt. So like this, when an acid reacts with base or alkali solution, they form salt and water. Example, take any ammonium hydroxide, let us take NH4OH, any acid like HCl. What happens? So again here also water will form and ammonium chloride, NH4Cl. This is a salt and this is a water. So like this, with acids, the alkali solution, both of them react with each other to form salt and water. So that's the basic information one has to know. Next, fifth property. fifth property. So alkalis, when they react with ammonium salts, alkali plus ammonium salt. So when alkali reacts with ammonium salt, it liberates ammonia gas along with the formation of salt and water. Salt, water is formed, and even ammonia gas is liberated along with the salt and water. Okay, for example, ammonium salt, take any ammonium salt, ammonium chloride, take any alkali, take calcium hydroxide, any alkali, water soluble base. What happens? So they form salt, water and ammonia. So here NH3 is liberated. So NH3 is formed. NH3. So what is left over? One hydrogen and one chlorine is left over. Calcium is left over. So the hydrogen which is left over here after removal of NH3, so one hydrogen is left over. That hydrogen will react with OH. How many OH are there here? 2. So that means we have to take 2 hydrogens. So that means 2 NH4Cl. So this part will break down into this part. This part will break down into ammonia and hydrogen, and this hydrogen will react with OH to form water. So as there are 2 OH, I require 2 hydrogens. So 2 hydrogens and 2 ammonia, that means 2 NH4Cl I have to take. Okay, did you understand? So like this, 2 NH4Cl, 2 NH4Cl. Okay, and what is left over? 2 chlorines and 1 calcium is left over. So this is a salt, CaCl2 is a salt, calcium chloride plus water plus ammonia is formed. Ammonia is liberated, ammonia gas is formed. Okay, take any salt. It may be ammonium sulfate also. Ammonium sulfate, this is another salt, ammonium salts. Any ammonium salt. And any alkali. Take potassium hydroxide. What happens? So here also ammonia gas is liberated. Okay. So actually 2 hydrogens, 2 ammonia gas, 2 ammonia. Okay. 2 ammonia and 2 hydrogens are formed here. And so 2 hydrogens are there. So 2 OH should be present. So I will take 2 KOH. So it forms 2 H2O. And what is left over here? 2 potassiums and 1 sulfate. It forms K2SO4, salt. So like this, salt, water and ammonia is formed. So this is the way how alkali react with ammonium salts. So with ammonium salt they form ammonia along with salt and water, but with acid they form only salt and water. Okay. Another property. So last property we will learn. Another property. Reaction with soluble salts. Okay, reaction with soluble salts of metals. Which one? Alkalis. How do they react with soluble salts of metals? So here soluble salts of metals, except sodium salt or potassium salt or calcium salt. Okay, except sodium salt or potassium salt or calcium salt. So you may take any other soluble salt of metals. and make them those salts react with the alkalis. For example, I mean the general method of general way of representation of this property. Okay, so I will write like this: soluble metal salt when reacted with alkali. Okay, soluble metal salt when reacted with alkali, they form soluble salt. Okay, salt. Which salt? Soluble salt. They form soluble salt and insoluble base. Insoluble hydroxide. Here it is forming insoluble hydroxide. This is important. Soluble salt will form another soluble salt, but insoluble hydroxide it forms along with the formation of this soluble salt. For example, iron chloride. Already we have seen this is a soluble salt. I will give you a list of soluble salts, don't worry. Alkali, okay. So sodium hydroxide is an alkali. So as there are 3 chlorines, I have taken 3 here because 3 sodiums. So soluble salt we have to get. What is that soluble salt? Sodium will react with the chlorine. Every sodium will react only with 1 chlorine, but there are 3 chlorines. So I have taken 3 sodiums plus 3 OH is there. Okay, 3 OH. Iron. This iron with iron hydroxide, ferric hydroxide, which is insoluble salt. It forms a precipitate. Okay. Another example, copper sulfate is also soluble salt. We have seen it's sodium hydroxide 2. It forms a salt Na2SO4 plus insoluble hydroxide it forms. So like this. That means alkalis when they react with soluble metal salts, except these salts, any salt we may take except these salts. So what happens? You will get insoluble hydroxides. You get insoluble hydroxides, metal hydroxides. So like this. So this is another property exhibited by alkalis. So these are some of the properties shown by alkalis, general properties. Okay, right. Now let us learn the uses of alkalis, common uses of alkalis. Alkalis, how they are used. Alkalis are bases, general uses. Uses of common alkalis or bases. Common alkalis or bases. You will use this. See the uses. First one is ammonium hydroxide. Ammonium hydroxide. Where it is used? So it is used to remove the grease stains. To remove the grease stains. Grease is one type of substance which is jelly like. Okay, grease. Okay, I mean to pull down the shutters, shop shutters, or else in cycle pump also we will use grease, which is used as lubricant. Suppose if a grease stain on cloth, if some grease is fall on cloth, so what happens? It remains as a stain, marakaga migilipotundi. So in order to remove that stain, we will use ammonium hydroxide solution. Ammonium hydroxide solution we will use Next, aluminum hydroxide. Aluminum hydroxide. What is the formula of aluminum hydroxide? AlOH taken thrice. Aluminum hydroxide. Okay. So it is used as the foaming agent. As foaming agent. As foaming agent in fire extinguishers. What are fire extinguishers? That means extinguishers means to మంటలు ఆర్పడం. Fire extinguishers. సో మంటలు ఆర్పే కొన్ని equipments ఉంటాయి. Okay. So those equipments, in those equipments we will use aluminum hydroxide. What happened? They produce foaming agent. That means this aluminum hydroxide will produce foam of carbon dioxide particularly. So that carbon dioxide foam, suppose if any substance is burning, so this if carbon dioxide foam is put on this burning material, what happens? So this foam will stop the supply of oxygen to this material. So when oxygen is supplied, that material will continue to burn. So this foam, what happens? It will cover this burning material. Therefore, the oxygen cannot be come into contact with this burning material. Hence, the burning of this one will stop. So like this. So this foam contains carbon dioxide. So this foam is produced with the help of aluminum hydroxide. So aluminum hydroxide is used as a foaming agent. Okay, foaming agent. That means with the help of aluminum hydroxide only, so it can form foam. So this is used in fire extinguishers. Right. Next one. Another use, another base will take sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide. Generally, it is used in the manufacturing of soap. It is used in the manufacture of soap. Will use sodium hydroxide in the manufacturing of soap. Okay. Calcium hydroxide. So where does this calcium hydroxide is? In several cases calcium hydroxide is only very few uses we are learning. So this ammonium hydroxide, it may be used in many other places, many other uses it is having. Just we are learning only just very few number of uses. Calcium hydroxide, it is used for a temporary treatment of hot water. That means softening of temporary hot water. So already we have seen what is hot water in our ICSE part 1. So hot water, to remove the temporary hardness from the water. So the process of removal of temporary hardness from the water, it is said to be softening. So the process of removal of hardness from the water is said to be softening. So here temporary hardness hardness is of two types: temporary hardness and permanent hardness. So to remove temporary hardness only, we can use calcium hydroxide. This method is said to be Clark method. In Clark method, we use calcium hydroxide to remove temporary hardness. We cannot remove permanent hardness by using calcium hydroxide. Okay, calcium hydroxide can remove only temporary hardness from the hot water. That means it helps in the softening of only temporary hot water. And also this calcium hydroxide is used in the preparation of bleaching powder. So to manufacture Bleaching powder. Bleaching powder. What is the formula of bleaching powder? Bleaching powder. Its formula is CaOCl2, calcium oxychloride. CaOCl2, bleaching powder. Okay. Another base will take magnesium hydroxide. Magnesium hydroxide. What is the formula of magnesium hydroxide? MgOH taken twice. Magnesium hydroxide. Where it is used? So it is used in many cases, but mainly it is used as antacid. As antacid. What is the meaning of antacid? See, actually, anti to acid, that means opposite action towards acid. It will neutralize as antacid to neutralize the acidity. To neutralize the acidity produced in the stomach. Okay, in stomach sometimes, actually in the stomach HCl acid is produced. Generally, our stomach will produce an acid known as hydrochloric acid. Sometimes, if excess amount of acid is produced in the stomach, it will cause irritation. Okay, and pain, irritation and pain. So, it is called as acidity. So, here that is called as acidity. So, in order to remove that acidity, or else in order to neutralize that acidity, we will use antacid tablet. Antacid will neutralize the acidity which is produced in the stomach, and it makes us to relief from that pain or else from that irritation. So what is used in the manufacture of antacid tablet or antacid syrups? So in the antacid tablet or in antacid syrups, we use magnesium hydroxide. Along with magnesium hydroxide, there are so many other chemicals also, but this magnesium hydroxide, it is also one of the chemical which is used as antacid to neutralize the acidity which is produced in the stomach. Okay, another example, potassium hydroxide, KOH, potassium hydroxide. It is also a base. It is used in the manufacturing of soft soaps. In the preparation of salt soap. Okay, in the preparation of soft soap, and it is also used in the preparation of alkaline batteries. Alkaline batteries. It is also used in the preparation of alkaline batteries. Okay, so like this, these are some of the uses of common alkalis or bases. Okay, so in the next video we will learn about the next topic, neutralization. Right.